Time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dan.
Well, I hope I can get through this without coughing, but I have a rave for Tony Hale, who is the founder of Chartbeat, which created a lot of the metrics that drive newsrooms crazy. Well, he has a new idea, and he's partnering with the New York Times, News Corp, and a few others. And what they hope to do is roll out some sort of a subscription-based system where you could get a number of different news products for one monthly fee. They would not be dependent on Facebook, and it would be a better experience than they're able to offer on their own websites. Fewer ads, fast loading, and it sounds like it could really be a step forward if this works. He's been very coy about what it will look like. He may not quite know himself yet. But he's got a really good track record, and I really wish him well on this.
Yeah, a lot of these things we hear about in the beginning, and then there's a couple we've talked about that, and then they never go anywhere.
There's a lot of them. I agree with you. And he says he's working in the graveyard of others on this.
Callie.
I'm really excited about NPR adding Radio Ambulante, I do not speak Spanish, so forgive me, to its podcast lineup. This has been founded by novelist and journalist Daniel Alarcon. It's going to be distributed by NPR. It was a Kickstarter campaign founded in 2011. The first podcast played 7,000 times, and then last year, 1.5 million. It's Spanish language, and they use narrative style within Spanish language. Hey, you know, Spanish is really our second language in America, so the fact that we're paying attention to this is really important in the armament of what NPR offers in its podcast lineup. And the other thing that I'm really excited about is that his little small team is also going to contribute to other programs on NPR. So you get really two bang for your buck here, and I think it's a great addition, bespeaks of moving ahead in a significant way. And it'll be very interesting to see how it all comes together.
Right.
They do a lot of great work. They're sometimes described as sort of the Spanish language, This American Life, and do a lot of really great stuff.
All right, Josh, what do you got?
I have a rant for Joe Concha, who is a writer for The Hill, the Capitol Hill newspaper. He published an exclusive, sort of breathlessly, earlier this week, saying that Breitbart, the publication that Steve Bannon previously ran, was in the planning stages of filing a lawsuit against a major news organization. He didn't say it was CNN, but it was CNN, for calling Breitbart a white nationalist publication. Here's the deal. If someone wants to sue someone, they should sue someone. What we saw throughout the campaign was the constant litany of, I'm threatening to sue a news organization. Donald Trump did this quite frequently. Have you noticed that none of those lawsuits were ever filed against his accusers or against the news organizations? That's because once you file a lawsuit, there's this thing called discovery. That would mean that all of Steve Bannon's emails would be available to prove whether or not he is a white nationalist. This would never happen. But by publishing that, and sort of, it becomes a form of threatening the media. And for an actual journalist to do that and to go ahead is just unconscionable.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. And I thought it should have been reported, but it should have been reported in the context of, here's the counselor to the next president really trying to threaten the press in a fairly scary way.
All right, Adam.
I have a quick rave for the website Atlas Obscura. Some of our viewers may know it. I have gotten really into this site just in the past few months as I've looked from time to time for a break from political news, which I've done with some increasing frequency. Their tagline, I believe, is that they specialize in curious and wondrous travel destinations, which makes it sound like a run-of-the-mill travel site. It is, in fact, much more. They do an amazing job finding these bizarre locations around the world that you've never heard of and writing about them, but they also dig up very odd historical and cultural ephemera. I was reading a piece on there today, on my lunch break, of course, about a poison that used to be manufactured in China by making scorpions, snakes, and centipedes fight, and then they would extract the product and turn it into a poison. So if you're looking for fun, weird, kind of macabre, escapist content, every now and then, check out Atlas
Is it
Obscura.
ad-supported? How does it make its money?
That's a good question.
Because that sounds like they got to do some work to put that together.
I think there's some ad revenue involved. They do have a new book, which is just out. It's a coffee table book. I have not seen it, so I can't endorse it, but I would guess
and
it's
they got you.
I have.
You
it's
have?
Good, yeah. And they also do events. They have an Atlas Obscura Day where people gather and go to interesting historical places.
All right. Well, I have a general rant today for the government of Turkey, which has been summarily rounding up journalists and putting them in jail. I mean, and not just over a day or two. I mean, we're talking about years. The editors of newspapers, 100 journalists inside of 1 month. You think we've got it bad here with a president-elect, tweeting at us and saying that we're failing and we're going out of business. This guy doesn't like anybody who reports on the successes or the inroads of another regime or another proposal, and he's rounding people up just summarily. And he wants them to self-censor themselves. He took away their press credentials.
After the coup was defeated in Turkey, Donald Trump expressed approval for President Erdogan's strength in beating it down. I would like to hear some people ask him what he thinks of Erdogan.
And I'll note that the National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, who he is just about to announce, has significant financial ties to the Turkish regime.